guys, look at that. Palantir just reported earnings, and their stock is on freaking fire after the bell. It is up over 25, up almost 30% right now. This is nuts. So in this video, we're going to break down the earnings, we're going to break down the charts, and talk about what I'm doing. So if you all find value, hit that like button, make sure to subscribe, and maybe later in the video, if we have time, we'll break down some other earnings that just came out. So yeah, I'm freaking pumped, guys. Let's dive into it. And by the way, don't forget to get up to 15 stocks from Moomoo. Link down below. It is free money. We'll talk more about that later. And now let's just dive right into it. So again, Palantir is up over 25% after the bell, and the stock did pretty well on the day. It went up around 4.5%. Not anything crazy, but still pretty good in the midst of an overall pretty boring day for the overall stock market. And now again, as they reported earnings, we are on freaking fire. So they ended up doing EPS of 5 cents, which beat the 4-cent estimate, and they did sales of $525.19 billion, or not billion, not there yet, guys. Who knows if we'll ever get there, but $525 million versus $505 million expected. And they see Q2 revenue of $528 to $532 million versus the $536 million, so a little bit under the estimate there, but they see full year 23 revenue slightly above the estimate, at least the higher end of the range. They see revenue at 2.18 to 2.23 billion versus 2.2 billion expected. So very solid guidance there for the full year. Maybe Q2 won't be as good, a little bit of some soft guidance there on revenue, but the fact that we had GAAP profitability, EPS beat, revenue beat for the last quarter, that is why the stock is freaking mooning right now. This is nuts. And you guys can see here on the 4-hour time frame, now we're fully breaking out. And all the alerts I had set, guys, I mean, geez, they all ended up hitting. I mean, look at this. We had alerts set from the last video, I believe. Let me pull the 4-hour up and show you guys. 8:15, that hit. 9:20, that hit. And now it looks like we're about to go to 10:30, which is the high from roughly the middle of February. Yeah, that's the next spot that Palantir is probably going to test. Maybe at some point tomorrow, maybe at some point next week, unless something, or not next week, later this week, or maybe next week, I don't know, unless something crazy happens and during the earnings call, which sends the stock collapsing, which right now it doesn't seem like it wants to do that yet. I mean, who knows? Anything could happen in the short term, but right now this thing is on fire. So let me pull up the investor relations tab. Give me a second here, guys. Here we go, and we'll break down some key financial highlights. We'll take a look at the balance sheet and so forth. So Palantir, they ended up doing net income, GAAP net income of $17 million. Let me actually zoom in a little bit so you guys can get a better glance at this. $17 million, and let me actually make my big old face a little bit smaller. There we go. GAAP net income of $17 million. This marks their second consecutive quarter of positive GAAP net income, which is great. And you guys can see here, GAAP income from operations of $4 million, representing a margin of 1%, up to 1,000 basis points, up 1,000 basis points year over year. I'm mumbling and stumbling, guys. I'm so pumped about these earnings. So GAAP earnings per share came in at 1 cent, which is great. Adjusted EPS, which is the number we talked about earlier, that came in at 5 cents, and total revenues grew, and I just realized you guys can't even see this. Hold on a second. There we go. Total revenue grew 18% year over year to $525 million. U.S. revenue grew 23% year over year to $337 million, and commercial revenue grew 15% year over year to $236 million, as U.S. commercial revenue grew 26%. So you'll notice, guys, the U.S. side of the business is doing better than all the revenues put together, including different markets. Keep that in mind. The U.S. commercial revenue grew 26% year over year. You guys can see to $107 million. Government revenue grew 20% year over year to $289 million, as U.S. government revenue grew 22% year over year to $230 million. And customer count, which is huge, guys, although a lot of their bigger customers, of course, make up obviously a majority of the revenue, but customer count grew 41% year over year and 7% quarter over quarter. That's really good in my opinion. And U.S., I mean, I'm sure you guys agree with that, right? U.S. commercial customer count increased 50% year over year from 103 customers in Q1 2022 to 155 customers in Q1 2023. And adjusted income from operations of $125 million, representing a margin of 24%. Cash from operations of $180 $287 million, representing a 36% margin, and adjusted free cash flow of $189 million, representing a 36% margin, with cash equivalents, and short-term U.S. Treasury securities of $2.9 billion. So freaking impressive there for Palantir, guys. The profitability is really the most impressive thing here. That's probably the main reason why the stock is exploding, and U.S. revenue is doing pretty decent, although growth rates have slowed down. They're still doing all right. And the customer count growth, oh my God, guys, 50% U.S. commercial customer count increase 50%. I mean, year-over-year growth. That is, pretty good there for Palantir. And coming down here a little bit more, you guys see the Q1 financial summary, which we already just talked about that pretty much. I want to actually see the balance sheet. Do they have the balance sheet here? Maybe not. Maybe not. Let me see here, guys. Where the heck is it? Here we go. So current assets right now, total current assets of around $3.25 billion, with cash equivalents right around 1.2, almost $1.3 billion. You guys see that right there. So let's see what the current liabilities are looking like. Of course, this is a software company, very high margins. Their total current liabilities, guys, are $601 million. So those are debts due within the next 12 months. If they really wanted to, which they're not going to do it. I mean, who knows? I mean, you never say never, but there's really no need to. But if they really wanted to, they can take their cash equivalents, take half of that $1.25 billion, and just pay off all their current liabilities, their operating lease liabilities, customer deposits, deferred revenue, accrued liabilities, accounts payable. They can literally knock out all these debts due in the next 12 months with half of the cash and cash equivalents they have on the balance sheet. And if they really wanted to, guys, I mean, they can do that. And look at the other current assets that they have. Prepaid expenses and other current assets, $85 million. Restricted cash, $11 million. Accounts receivable net, $254 million. There's a lot of current assets here. And their balance sheet, I mean, it's not surprising considering the business that they're in, but their balance sheet is looking very, very good, guys, at least in my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But overall, guys, that's what ended up going down. Pretty good earnings, GAAP profitability, GAAP EPS. I'm freaking stumbling on my words, guys. Again, I'm pumped about these earnings, and that is what's sending the stock to the moon right now. Let me actually go back to ThinkOrSwim. Let's break down some other key levels here on Palantir. Then maybe we'll talk about some other stocks. Maybe I'll push that to another video. I don't know yet, because really we've gone about 10 minutes here almost on Palantir. I don't want to make this video too long. So Palantir today went up 4.5%. Like I said, now it's up a ton after the bell, and who knows where it's going to go now. Maybe it sells off a little bit tomorrow. That's possible. Maybe some weak hands get shaken out, profit taking, whatever you want to call it, and maybe we come down a little bit to the lower nines. That could be a spot where it does consolidate, but who knows where it's going to go, because we all know at this point, a lot of the big money, they wait until companies are consistently profitable before jumping into them. And that could be the start, or this could be the start of that. You know what I mean? And sure, there's a lot of institutions that do own Palantir, but a lot of the big money, the big flood of money comes in once we see consistent GAAP EPS. And, it's starting to come in. We're not fully there yet, obviously, but that, this could be the algorithms buying it up because of that metric. I don't freaking know. But, this is a very good sign overall for the company, and maybe it doesn't pull back to $8. I mean, maybe it does. I don't know, but maybe it doesn't do that in the short term. Maybe it continues to truck along, with 1030 being the next main resistance. If that breaks, guys, man, this thing could really start to take off. Let me pull up the 3-year chart, or actually maybe the yearly chart. Let's see where it was close to a year ago. Yeah, it was at $11.60 back in the beginning of August. That's where it could go if it takes out 1030, which is possible if more money starts to flood into this thing over the next couple of weeks. It might not happen tomorrow, guys. It probably won't happen tomorrow. But over the next couple of weeks here, as the market digests these earnings, and, granted, if we have a market crash, this wouldn't help Palantir's case. But as the market digests the earnings, we give it a couple of weeks, more big money starts to come in. Maybe, this could start going past 1030. Maybe it goes towards 1160. $7.60 at that point, which again was the high from almost a year ago back in August of 2022. So very strong numbers there from Palantir. The stock's moving like crazy, and well, I'm pumped about it, guys. I'm freaking pumped. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm going to wrap it up. I might do another video talking about those other companies, but I figured, hey, let's do a quick Palantir one, break down the earnings, and yeah, wrap it up. So if you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe. Don't forget to get up to 15 stocks for Moomoo. It is free money. Once you open up an account, you get 1 free share of stock right off the bat. Once you fund your account with at least $100, you get 4 more stocks, totaling 5 stocks. And once you fund your account with at least $1,000, guys, you get 10 more stocks on top of the 4 stocks, on top of the 1 stock, totaling 15 free stocks. So check it out, link down below, and don't forget to check out my Patreon as well if you guys are interested. All the details are in the description box. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Man, this is nuts. Peace out.